Hello, my name's Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for August 17th to August 23 of 2014. August 17th, we have the Sun in Leo, as you can see right here. It's also in the fourth hexagram. You can see the stack of lines representing the fourth hexagram, numbered from bottom to top, and the fourth hexagram goes yin, yang, yin, 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 yang. The fourth hexagram is then mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate, and we have it right up here. This is the fourth gate of formalization, youthful folly, the energy to beguile and succeed despite ignorance, freedom from retribution. It's located in the Ajna center, in a collective logic energy path in the understanding circuit called the channel of logic, the design of mental ease mixed with doubt, which connects to the 63rd gate of doubt after completion. In the spiral of life, all endings are beginnings. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. We have the following activated gates on August 17th. We've got the Sun in the 4, and then the Earth is over here in the 49th gate. The North Node is in the 32nd. The South Node is in the 42nd gate. Mercury in the 59th gate. Venus is in the 31, along with Jupiter. Mars is in the 44. Saturn is in the first gate. We've got Uranus retrograde in the 51, Neptune retrograde in the 37, and Pluto is retrograde in the 38. Now, obviously, not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And you can get your human design chart by going to jovianarchive.com and click on the button that says get your free rave chart, and then just enter your birth information. So the neutrino forecast is just a weather report. No matter what the weather is, an individual's strategy and authority is the correct choice to have an authentic experience regardless of what the program is doing. And as Ra Uru Hu said, whatever the weather's going to be, you have your neutrino umbrella. As long as you're experimenting with your strategy and authority, the weather is for your pleasure. And we begin the week with no channel definitions due to the transit field. And we're going to be looking at the Sun's Ravi Ching line values daily, because 70% of the neutrinos we receive come through the Sun. And as Ross said in Design Perspectives number 56 in his presentation entitled Living with the Program with Ra Uru Hu, the lines of the day, when he was talking about these shifts, the daily shifts of line values, he said we can always take advantage of the themes of the day. Now, obviously, if your strategy authority doesn't lead you in that direction, you can always just notice how the program's affecting others in your environment. So let's get started. August 17th begins with the Sun in the fourth hexagram. It's in the sixth line. And the fourth hexagram, sixth line, is excess. Repeated and conscious abuse of norms will not escape discipline. Exalted, it's the development through experience of techniques to apply self-restraint. The potential in a logical process to recognize when the understanding is not complete, and have the patience to wait out the process. Detrimented, the gall to attempt to accept punishment as the price of excess, despite recognizing the incompleteness, a lack of patience with the process. And 6 line days, Ra talks about, not to get stuck with your head in the cloud, because you'll end up having things bang into your kneecaps. It's a day where there's a lack of focus. I mean, think about it. We're in the role model line. We're in the roof of the hexagram. It's looking at not what's happening in the hexagram itself, but what's happening in the neighborhood, what's happening in that entire circuit group that it's activating. In this case, the entire logic collective circuit group. So basically with this kind of perspective of looking into the future or looking at what else is happening, people may not be really conscious of what's happening in their immediate environment. That can lead to certain dangers, like not seeing a car coming when you're crossing a street, or bill coming when you haven't budgeted for it, or something like that. So later on the 17th, though, the sun moves from the fourth uh, gate to the 29th gate. And with that, we have the Earth also shifting from the 49th gate to the 30th gate of, and that's the gate of the 30th gate is the gate of recognition of feelings, the clinging fire, freedom realized as an illusion, and limitation accepted as fate. And this shift happens at 7:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. All the times I'm giving you are going to be Eastern Daylight Time, so you want to convert that to your local time zone so you know when the shifts are happening where you live. And then we've got the sun in the 29th gate. If it will just stay in the 29th gate. It's not saying yes to me right now, is it? No. Stay, please. All right. So the 29th gate is the gate of saying yes, the abysmal. The deep within the deep, persistence despite difficulties, the inevitable rewards. The persistence despite difficulties has inevitable rewards. The sun in the 29-1, so new hexagram. We start at the first line of the draftee, the ability to struggle when necessary, but not as a permanent state. Exalted, the innate nature to apply energy in times of war and peace. The power of to persevere when necessary, but not generally. Detrimented, a deep impressionability whose marks from times of struggle may make a return to normal conditions extremely difficult. So it's hesitation in making commitments based on past experiences. And when we get down into the first, second, and third lines, this is the lower trigram. People are looking more inward, they're more absorbed in their own process. Themes of the first line day are fear, anxiety that needs to be investigated. Might be a day to study, to look into things, to deal with things that you don't understand, can't make sense of, or don't know. Good day to do some research on something. The 18th, the sun then moves into the second line. So it moves out of the investigative line into the hermit line of, again, the 29th hexagram. The shift happens at 7:03 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun is exalted in the 29-2 and is described as assessment. Persistence tempered by caution, exalted the power of sustainment as a guiding light. Saying yes and the power to persevere. Second line days, again, we're dealing with the hermit. People are waiting for things. They're waiting to be called. They can get really stuck in what's going on in their own life. So it might not be a great day to have a party because people might want to just really stay at home in their hermitages. And then also on the 18th, Mercury moves from the 59 to the 40. So that gives us a new definition here. And then we also have that Venus moves from the 31, it's leaving Jupiter there, and into the 33. In theory. And then Mars is moving from the 44, and it's joining Saturn in the first gate. So let's talk about Mercury first. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. It's communication, and expansion of human consciousness through communication. Ra talks about it being through music as well as words. So what do we communicate in life? We communicate the message of our design Mercury through the medium of our personality Mercury. And so what might be communicated with Mercury in the 40th gate? Well, the will to be alone. This is the gate of aloneness, deliverance, the point of transition between struggle and liberation. Mercury in the 40th gate in the first line. This is recuperation. Exalted, the ability to relax and enjoy the fruits of one's behavior. The ego strength to enjoy being alone. Detrimented, the ego uncomfortable with being alone for long. Also on the 18th, Venus has moved from the 31st into the 33rd gate. In human design, Venus is very powerful and deeply misunderstood, according to Ra. It brings morality, natural law in which we deal with the other and the consequences of the world around us. And what disturbs you on a moral level, your design and personality Venuses tell us about the moral dilemma that you're going to work with in your life. And if you do not act with moral clarity, Venus can be unkind in its retribution, according to Ra. Venus in the 33rd gate of privacy, retreat, active withdrawal, and the transformation of a weak position into strength. In the first line of the 33rd, this is avoidance, exalted, the wisdom in a weak position to recognize that survival demands complete withdrawal, retreating when one realizes that they are in a weak position, detrimented where courage is just plain foolishness, unable to retreat when overwhelmed by stimulation. And then Mars, of course, we've got moved from the 44 to the first gate, where it joined, is going to join Saturn. Mars is in the gate. This is the gate of alertness, coming to meet. The success of any interaction is based on the absence of preconditions. And Mars is detrimented in the second line, and then exalted in the third and fifth lines of the first hexagram. So we start in the first line here. This is the creation is independent of will. Exalted, the time is everything. Self-expression has its special timing. Detrimented, instability leads to distortion. Here, patience is a virtue and revolution is vice. Creative instability unless there's patience. And Ross spoke about Mars being an extraordinary and immature energy resource that lacks refinement and is subject to outbursts. Mars represents the warrior archetype. By following our strategy and authority, we slowly refine the energy of our design and personality Marses from immaturity to wisdom. And so we've got Mercury in the 40th gate. We've got Neptune in the 37th gate. So we're looking at the channel of community here until August 21st. This definition brings the energy where people will wonder where they belong in the scheme of things and try to live that out. It's a time of thinking about marriage and family as the foundation of community. Fairness becomes more important under the influence of the channel of community. Balance becomes an important aspect of life. People will explore how they fit into their communities, and on a more mystical level, how they fit into the universe and what their true purpose is. And then on the 19th, the sun moves into the third line. So we moved out of the Hermit line into the Martyr line of the 29th hexagram still. The shift happening at 6:26 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is evolution. In this context, properly assessed in action, exalted, despite the urge and the cost of inaction, the knowledge that sometimes that it is sometimes better to fight another day. The power to wait, detrimented, a preference for withdrawal in principle with little regard for effect, the inability to make commitments, the power of caution. And third line days, we've got bonds made and broken, trial and error process, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work are all themes of the Martyr. So it's a day to be careful on the road, be careful of things in your immediate environment, whether it's a swinging door or somebody's swinging elbow, might have bonds made or bonds broken. It's a trial and error process kind of day where things might bump into you on the material plane. Might be a good day for business or work on the material plane, but you have to be careful because things can go wrong. But the things that go wrong are here to lead to discovery. And then also on the 19th, Jupiter moves from the 31 and it joins Venus in the 33rd hexagram. In human design, Jupiter is generalized law, the electromagnetic central operating theater for the way in which the solar system operates. Living by the law can gain great good fortune. Activations in our human design chart of Jupiter tell us the law that we're going to be living by. To benefit from the generosity only comes from deep obedience to honoring your own law, your own individual strategy and authority. Jupiter in the 33rd gate of, again, this is privacy, retreat, active withdrawal, and the transformation of a weak position into strength. Jupiter in the 33-1, this is avoidance, exalted, the wisdom in a weak position to recognize that survival demands complete withdrawal, retreating when one realizes that they are in a weak position, detrimented where courage is just plain foolishness, and unable to retreat when overwhelmed by stimulation. On the 20th, the sun moves up into the fourth line of the 29th hexagram. The shift is at 5:48 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where it's exalted, and it's described as directness. The shortest distance between 2 points is the straight line. Exalted, the wisdom to use the simplest and most direct approach to solve difficulties. The power to commit oneself to the simplest and most direct action. I have the detriment here too. Written down, so we'll just double check it. But the detriment is the simplicity and directness is all too often seen as inharmonic and aesthetically crude. The power of directness often offends others. So we'll just double check that whether the sun is exalted in the fourth line of the 29th. Since we have both the exaltation and the detriment in the description here, so that might be a typo on the script here. So anyway, fourth line days, we're moving from a shift from the lower trigram to the upper trigram, change from an inwards perspective to looking outward. The themes of friendship, companionship, of networking. Fourth line days are great for social interaction. People are more open to networking and being friendly and social. And then on the 21st, the sun moves into the fifth line, so it's moved out of the opportunist line into the heretical fifth line of the 29th hexagram. This shift happening at 5:10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun is exalted in the 29.5, which is described as overreach, the tendency to bite off more than one can chew. Exalted, where the drive is in the design and not ambition driven. The uncontrollable drive to say yes. The fifth line day, it's heretical. It's a day of suspicion, also a day of universalization, where something leaks out and it spreads like a virus, whether it's a YouTube video or a Facebook posting that just gets a lot of attention. It's a great day to deal with suspicion. There's also a great deal of suspicion as well, paranoia, and as I've said before, it's only paranoia if they're not out to get you. And often with the projection that comes with the fifth line, they are, because they see the fifth line as being something very positive, and then when it doesn't meet the expectation, doesn't do it, can't do it, doesn't want to do it, for whatever reason, the expectation is not fulfilled, then the projection changes to negative, where the punishment comes in. We also on the 21st, this is a big shift here. The north node moves from the 32nd gate, and it's moving into the 57th. And with that, we also have the south node moves from the 42, and oh, our sun fell off. Let's put it back. Almost there. And it joins Uranus in the 51. Mercury also moves from the 40. So this definition moves on, and Mars moves into the 64. All right, let's talk about the nodes first. Ra talked about the nodes being openings for the neutrino energy from outside of our solar system, and to be representative of our environment. The nodes are almost always retrograde, so they shift represents moving from the first line of one hexagram into the sixth line of the previous hexagram. So we're moving from the first line of the 32 to the sixth line of the 57, and the first line of the 42 to the sixth line of the 51. So for the south node. The north node in the 57 is activating the energy of the intuitive, the gentle, the extraordinary power for clarity. In the 51, the south node is about shock, the arousing, the ability to respond to disorder through recognition and adaptation. Also, with this shift of Mercury moving from the 40 up to the 64th gate, again, Mercury is about communication. So what might be communicated by Mercury in the 64? Well, it could be confusion about the past. This is the gate of confusion before completion. Transition, like birth, requires a determined strength for the passage through. Mercury in the 64-1 is conditions, exalted in penetrating to the center, the understanding that instills the necessary harmony to survive disorder amongst the confusion, the difficulty in finding the point. Detrimented, the powerful temptation when having transition in sight to hasty actions, the urge to act when you think you have a sense, when you think you have made sense of confusion. And then on the 22nd, the sun moves into the sixth line of the 29th gate at 4:32 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun in the 29.6 is confusion, a state of energy that exists when momentum outstrips awareness, exalted, driving blind with the energy and determination, often blind luck, the power to persevere that makes no sense. Detrimented, a tendency in confusion to withdraw rather than accept the condition and continue to persevere. The power in confusion to caution rather than saying yes. The sixth line day is not to get stuck with your head in the clouds because you'll end up with something bumping into your kneecaps. We talked about this before. So again, it's a day when there's a lack of focus on what's going on around us with that sixth line energy. So also on the 22nd, Venus moves from the 33rd gate where it's leaving Jupiter behind, and it's moved into the 7th hexagram. And we talked about Venus being about morality and natural law earlier in this report. And so what are we looking at here? Venus in the 7th gate, it's the role of the self, the armory, the point of convergence. By design, the need for leadership to guide and order society. Venus is exalted in the 7, in the first line of the authoritarian, the iron hand, both enlightened and despotic. Exalted, basic values and rules imposed on a child, the capacity of the self to guide with authority. And then on the 23rd, the sun moves from the 29 to the 59 gate, And of course, with that, we have the Earth shifting from the 30th gate to the 55. And the 55th gate is the gate of spirits, abundance. Abundance that's strictly a question of spirit. This shift happens at 3:52 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and the sun in the 59th gate of sexuality, dispersion, the ability to break down barriers to achieve union. The sun's exalted in the 59th gate in the first line, the preemptive strike. Exalted the authority and vitality to understand purpose, to understand in purpose and direction, can recognize and eliminate barriers before they become impregnable. The power of fertility to impregnate. And again, so now we're in a new hexagram. We're back down the first line, first, second, third lines. Again, the shift is moving back to an inward shift. We're looking, this is again anxiety. It's the line in the investigator. So it might be a day to research or look into something. So we continue to have the sun moving through the hexagrams of the 7, the 4, the 29, the 59, which are all associated with the Thoth Godhead, the Egyptian god of wisdom, which was covered in the August 3rd week's offering. So you might want to go back and check that one out if you're interested in that aspect of the quarter of duality. So anyway, no matter what energies are conditioning you during the week, remember this is an experience about being a passenger that's riding in a vehicle that's being driven by the magnetic monopole. So just enjoy the scenery. Let the vehicle take you where you need to go through using your strategy and authority. Every single day we have is a blessing, no matter what's happening and what dramas are trying to distract us. I believe we're all giving the performance of our lifetime on the world stage. Just take some time out to observe the play, observe your movie, as well as act your part. By remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast should be out, and it will be for the August 24th. Should be available by August 23rd, when we're going to continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. You can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, and YouTube. And I encourage you to share this information as videos or texts as widely as you choose. I'll be discussing the transits of September 2014 and providing some short 10 to 15 minute human design readings to the participants of the Earth Needs Rebel show on the Truth Frequency Radio, and that's going to be happening on Tuesday, September 2nd. The show starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I come on 1:30, and we go until 3 o'clock. And you can join the show by getting into the chat space for Earth Needs Rebels on Truth Frequency Radio, or you can personal message Katie, and they'll call you for free anywhere on the planet to bring you live onto the show. Whether you got a question or you want to get a short reading. I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. So you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I'd love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to either be able to call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And as I've said before, I think the best way to make a donation is get a reading. You're going to get something that's going to help you tremendously. And these readings are epic. They usually go at least 2 hours. Sometimes they go quite a bit longer than that. What can I say? I'm a projector. Sometimes I don't know when enough is enough, as you can tell from all the details in just these videos. As always, I'm blessed that you have taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. And I'm really grateful that you've connected with these videos, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you in the future, whether it's through a video on the radio show or in a reading. So thank you, everybody. All my best.